people. Welcome to the Othentik Wellness Podcast, where we discuss everything and anything related to matters of wellness and how to handle our day-to-day lives. My name is Lily Okeo. I'm a psychologist and a hair and skincare specialist, and with me is my team. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kuyaya Welime, Mama Almasi, and I'm a phytotherapist. Karibu.
Hello, my name is Julie. I am an organic farmer and an advocate for safe farming practices. Karibuni.
Thank you. Before we go further, today I'll ask Julie, what's in our kettle?
So today in our kettle, we'll be talking, our topic is fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be talking about fermentation of foods. So what we have today for us is fermented tea, also called kombucha. So I will maybe serve us so we can taste. You can see the fizz there.
Looks nice. A probiotic drink.
Yeah.
It looks like a soda.
It is a probiotic drink, good for gut health. See, we can do something different.
Yeah, we can do both. In fact, I love the one you're pouring.
Yeah,
my
this
favorite.
is the most popular. People like it, I guess, because of the color and also
even the taste. It's
hibiscus.
amazing. Yes.
So we infuse organic herbs. We infuse it with organic herbs. It's fermented tea, but infused with organic herbs like rosemary, hibiscus, sage, lemongrass, ginger, turmeric. Yes, so you can have a taste.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sage is very good for you. It's good for your brain, cognitive function.
This is
And
really
hibiscus is very good for your heart.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that we are talking about this topic for food preservation, because this is a technique or a skill that has existed from since time immemorial. You know, since way back, we've been preserving food. And today I would like us to just dive into it. What is food preservation? Why do we need to preserve food? So maybe, Lisa, you could start us off.
Okay, food preservation is the process of treating food and handling food so that you can save it for longer. And there are different ways of preserving food. So whatever thing you do to stop spoilage is food preservation. And later on, we're going to talk about different ways of food preservation.
And also the main three goals of preserving food is usually you want, the interesting thing we'll talk about, there's some level of nutritional value that you get from fermented or preserved foods over fresh foods. So you may get higher nutritional value, and also you'll get safety. You have
Food safety, that is.
Yes, food safety, and also sustainability, longer shelf life.
Yeah.
Remember, fresh foods especially, they have a very short shelf life, perishability.
True.
So preservation helps to lengthen the shelf life of your food.
Yeah. And even before we get into the nitty-gritties, you know, food preservation has always been a big deal. And maybe just to highlight, why does food go bad, and therefore why do we need to preserve our foods? I know you've highlighted the three major points. What makes our food to go bad? And I believe you've covered a bit of that in even composting. You keep talking about it so well, Julie. Could you highlight some of those things? And Lisa, maybe you could also add on. Yeah.
Mainly moisture and oxygen. When they meet. Some of the types of food preservation we'll talk about is where you'll eliminate that situation. So mostly it's oxygen and moisture that causes food to go bad, to rot.
So it starts the decomposition.
It starts the decomposition.
Microorganisms, basically.
Microorganisms.
Okay. Interesting. It's also noted that, again, we, as you've mentioned, short shelf life, and the fact that, say this is tea, you've harvested tea and you're steeping freshly harvested tea leaves. I doubt that you will get the aroma maybe you're getting and some of the concentrated benefits on a dehydrated food. I've already started mentioning some of the ways to do this, but just in spite of as much as we're extending shelf life, I really believe that right now we are overproducing food. Sometimes you'll find a farmer has planted tomatoes. Maybe the market, especially during rainy season and certain seasons, you have too much tomatoes flooding the market. And therefore, the need for preservation and changing these tomatoes into tomato sauce, into maybe canned tomatoes or something like that. So I just wondered whether we could just dive into how to preserve food. Because it's important, we've established that bacteria, the molds and all those things help food decompose faster. And since we want food security, then how do we preserve our surplus, either from our kitchen garden or from what we buy in the market? Maybe you guys could delve deeper into that.
Sure. There are two types of food preservation. We have the modern and the traditional. So I will talk about the traditional. And this is ancient knowledge which has been passed down.
Indigenous knowledge.
We have drying. Yes, you dry. You can dry your fish. You dry your maize. We have fermentation, like this is fermentation. Then we have smoking. In fact, it's fish also which can be smoked. And it's so nice when fish is smoked. It tastes so good. And that smoke, remember in the olden days, there used to be these things in tabut. They would dry their seeds there, their maize, and there was no dodo which would eat that thing. Then, of course, there is pickling. Pickling is putting your produce in something salty with vinegar, something,
or even lime.
Something acidic. Then, of course, we have nowadays we also have cold storage. The traditional one is where you can put in nyungu. See, you know nyungu. And you know tomatoes or fresh produce put in nyungu stays longer. You can enjoy it for longer as opposed to leaving it outside. There is this thing, you put one nyungu inside another nyungu. So you put now like your tomatoes, you put your tomatoes in the first nyungu. Then you put water in the second nyungu. You stick them together. Now it will keep even for 3 weeks.
I hear you. And as you're saying that, I'm remembering when I was a kid, even maji ya nyungu. It used to be really nice and cool. So I'm suspecting what you're saying. The outer nyungu is having the water and it's cool. So it keeps the temperatures low and therefore microorganisms don't operate at that temperature as fast as they would at normal room temperature. Really makes sense. And people, I'm realizing also some of these techniques that have been passed down through the ages are simple, they're scientific,
very scientific.
You know, and can be explained and replicated.
Exactly. Have you noticed that mboga kienyeji or any mboga cooked in a nyungu, you put them just there kwa moto. It will, day 1, it's still okay. Day 2, it's still okay. Day 3, it's still okay. Put it in a sufuria. Day 1, it has gone bad.
True.
So there is something in these traditional pots, and there is something that our indigenous parents knew and passed on to us.
Before we go on to the modern ones, you talked about drying, and I know Julie sometimes all of us dry our herbs and stuff. I think it's important to mention the different types of drying. You know, some people put their things out
in the sun.
Julie, you can highlight a bit on the different types of drying, how to dry your foods as a way of preservation.
Usually there is a machine drying. You can see people using maybe solar machines to dry their foods, even some small electrical machines to dry. There's a traditional ways also of drying them, sun drying. But usually we avoid the drying in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
So that we can, sometimes it'll lose its color and so on.
Yeah.
So you dry like in a shade or even in a very cool and dry room so that you preserve the color. So drying is one of them. Then there's also, this one is done mostly by farmers.
Yes.
You can dry I actually have a farmer who experimented for me one day. She put for me some tomatoes in ash. Buried it in ash. Then after 6 months, she sends me a photo. She just opened and they were still looking.
Intact.
Her tomatoes were still intact.
Yeah.
So ash is one of the traditional ways. And then there's also soil. Sometimes when we harvest stuff and bring to our shop here, we don't wash them. We don't wash the, especially root foods, the potatoes, the beetroots. We leave them in the shelf in soil. So it looks dirty, but that's a way of preserving them and giving them a longer shelf life.
I agree.
Yeah.
And as you're speaking about these things and also drying and other methods, there's also a method for, like we mentioned earlier when we were starting, removing moisture.
Yeah.
You can remove the moisture and then, like, say for example, I remember when I was a kid, whenever we went to see Gogo or Shusho, whoever, our grandparents, there used to be a granary. It's off the ground.
Yeah.
And then it's made with, what is that thing called? Like
Twigs
twigs and reeds.
Twigs have been
weaved through. But outside, imepakwa samadi. Samadi na matope. And you would find maize stays there. There are no weevils. And I think maybe also the seeds were also resistant to most of these pests. I suspect so.
Yeah.
But you would find that the maize, the wheat would stay there for longer without needing too much preservation.
Exactly.
The other day I was talking to my dad about a week ago, and I reminded him that, do you remember when we were kids, we would take the big seeds, remove the I used to call them the ears of the maize, the leaves, tie them kama like hapa juu, then kwa ile meko yetu ya where unasongea ugali ya kuni, where you cook your githeri's, we used to have things where we hang hapo juu. And that way also, you're keeping that thing in a dry spot, maybe away from rodents and stuff like that. And it keeps your seed and also your food for longer.
Yes.
There's also smoking taking place.
Yeah.
Remember all the
Yes,
smoke from the
exactly.
kitchen,
Yes.
from the fire.
Yeah, and then I remember also Dad used to make the things like silos. I'll call them silos. They're just cylindrical things. And then upper chini, it has like an opening. So it's like you just open the
drawer,
seal.
like.
Yes, and then food draws, then kama kisiagi. You've been to a kisiagi wakati unafunga mahindi isipite. Yes, like that.
There are even modern and advanced ones right now where if you want to preserve your maize, they'll build for you and sow your maize in such a facility.
So what's the science behind it?
Airtight. We'll talk also about canning. When it's airtight and there's no oxygen going in there, the microorganisms that would be causing the rotting of your food or the decomposing of your food, it's out. So you'll see that's how it gets preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, when you mentioned drying, leaving it in soil, that is how you preserve your ginger, garlic, turmeric.
Root foods, yes.
Yeah. Alafu, you just get it when you buy a lot of ginger or turmeric. Was it turmeric? You just open chili, you bury them. Every time you want, the others will eventually grow, but they will keep plump and fresh. When you leave it out
for a
there,
longer time. That's why I'm telling you, when they come into the shop in a green grocery, we avoid washing them so that we can preserve them for longer.
That's nice.
Then for also other root vegetables like potatoes, there's this thing in this basket, like almost like this one. We call it in Kiluya luteru, I think. Amanisikono, one of those. You put sawdust. Then you put your viazi. Yeah. That is how you will preserve it. If you don't want to dig to use like a root cellar, you dig underground, and that is how you preserve. It's cold. There is no light, and you will keep your food for longer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now we've been talking a lot about the traditional ones.
Yes.
Maybe Julie, you can share a few of the modern ways of preserving food.
The obvious one is refrigeration, with the assumption that refrigeration is a bit of a new technology, assuming we've lived all these centuries. So refrigeration, freezing, and freezing and chilling. Yes, freezing and chilling. So those are some. I think Lisa will help us with the right conditions for refrigeration.
Yes, when you refrigerate, like we mentioned in the last episode, you freeze it. Then when you defrost it either in your fridge or under running water, or you quickly defrost it in your microwave. That is, if you have it. If you don't, you pour hot water. The problem with that is that some places may be defrosted and others may not. Then there's something that I love doing, that I preserve my tomatoes via canning or fruits in season. When we harvest lots of grapes, and after some time there are no grapes, or after some time there are no tomatoes, either dry them, and there is this sunlight, they call it in Kinandi ya cheringi siet, what is lizard, either before 9, before 10, and from 3. It is not so hot. That is when you dry it outside. Then you can dry your tomatoes that way. That's a modern one. And also can. I love canning. I make my jams. I make my sauces. Anything that I have in plenty. You know, the other day I tried to of course, I canned tallow. I canned beef broth.
Interesting.
And canning is basically boiling. You must use a glass jar, and there's a special kind of jar, and you boil, you kind of use lots of heat, you boil it, then you turn it upside down. That is basically removing any oxygen. Then you keep it on the shelf. It will be fresh for a long time, but you keep looking at it. If there is anything, any discoloration, any mold, that one has gone bad. But it is a wonderful way of canning, no preservatives, no nothing. Then, of course, there is vacuum sealing.
Before you move, that style is also used for jams.
Yes.
For jams. And this is the interesting thing, when we are talking traditional and modern, for us it may feel that it's modern, but in other localities, like in Europe,
it's traditional, actually.
You see, for us, probably we got bottles later.
Yes.
They probably had bottles earlier
than us.
So you'll find that for them it was more indigenous. Then for us, we have come to them a little later. Yes. Sorry, correct.
Actually it is true. Ours, it was pots. Like in the Middle East.
Ours was pots mostly. That was what was locally available. Yes.
In the Middle East, you know, when they have plenty of these grapes, there is a way they put it in a pot. Then they kind of seal it, and it keeps throughout the winter. When they open it, it keeps fresh throughout the winter. When they open, they literally break it, and you'll be shocked. That grapefruit, that cabbage is exactly as it is. And I can bet the sugar has concentrated in it.
Definitely. It must be sweeter. Interesting. You know, also, as we're talking about the preservation, I don't know whether Julie, you want to add, or Lisa, on the modern ways of preserving food.
There is flash freezing.
What is that?
You freeze rapidly. I don't know if they use that. I just wonder if they use the nitric wood, that white thing that comes.
Yes.
There's that flash. Then irradiation. They use ionizing radiation to kill any bugs, any bacteria in that. So those are the that I know of the
modern ones.
Even modern ones.
Artificial preservatives.
Artificial
preservatives mostly used by manufacturers. So you find usually, since they are taking their products, distributing their products far and wide, some are even exporting to other countries. So you'll find they really need that long shelf life. So you'll find most of those products they use artificial preservatives.
And I think we must say, honestly, I must say this, that sometimes it's important to know the kind of preservative that has been used on the foods that you're eating. You'll find sometimes the highly processed foods have high concentration of preservatives. These things are endocrine disruptors.
Yeah.
They have been known to cause gut issues. They have been known to, some of these preservatives are carcinogenic. So it's important to learn which preservatives are on your product. And I believe as we continue with this conversation, even in the coming episodes, we'll start talking about how do you identify what's on your label. It's very important to know that it's safer to eat less manipulated foods, as natural as it comes from the ground maybe, or from the animal, with the least manipulation possible. That food is more nutritious, more nutrient dense, less manipulation, and possible less side effects. For example, if you have organically grown wheat, it has less gluten and less what are they called? Bleach. You know, most of the flour we use are bleached. So we love white flour, both for maize and everything. But ukienda kisiagi, weke unga ya kisiagi number 1 na unga ya duka number 1, they're not the same. So you'll find the less manipulation the food has, the less preservative it has, the more beneficial it is to your body. Some of these processes, even when you're bleaching, when you're adding some of these preservatives, they lower the nutrient benefits that these foods might have on your body. So try as much as you can, to our viewers maybe, to avoid highly preserved products and start using less.
The reason why I'm also a big advocate for cottage industry is because you'll find that most of the products that come out of cottage industrialists are products that may not go very far. They may be distributed just in that locality. So you'll find that the pressure for the long shelf life is not there so much. So they may use more natural ways of preserving, like salt, fermentation, and so on.
And you know, salt is also beneficial to your body.
Yes, it is actually.
If you find the fish that has been sun-dried and maybe meat that has been dried with just salt,
it is,
like I love talking about this meat, Kimasai, because I really love that food. It's so
tell
delicious.
us about it. It's also an amazing traditional preservation.
Because they take the same mkia ya kondo or the fat from the cow, which is basically tallow. They cut the parts of the meat that have fat and they mix in other parts of the meat, and they will cook it slowly, very slowly, over a long period of time until it cooks. And sometimes they also add a bit of salt in it. This one helps it to last longer. You know, that meat can last up to 3 years. And it's what some of the Morans, when they go for long distance,
since they are pastoralists.
I'm telling you, I think I'll tell my aunt to give us one day. One day we'll have that. It's called orpurda. It is really good. That meat is really good, and you'll never get obese from that meat.
It shows from the Morans in their jumping.
I know. It's
so,
really good.
So there's also the element of preservation. When you had asked me something about the fermentation. The nutritional value that you get from, say, fermented foods, for example, is higher. Something else we must note about preservation. Remember when we were introducing, we talked about how nutritional value can increase. And how sometimes it is when there are foods that when you preserve, you end up getting more value than when you eat it fresh. For example, when we ferment like sauerkraut, kimchi, when you ferment that cabbage, those carrots. So what happens is that all our vegetables usually have good properties. They have nutrients, they have antioxidants. But sometimes usually they also have something called anti-nutrients. Those anti-nutrients inhibit the bioavailability of vitamins and those minerals. So you'll find zinc and iron is not as available to the person eating as it is when the food is fermented. So you see that fermentation process has an added value.
Besides microbiomes, actually.
And just in case you're following our conversation and you want to learn more about microbiomes, you could visit our episode 1 where we talk about the gut microbiome and how it supports other organs. Yeah, Lisa, maybe you could also share with us a bit about how we can use things available in our environment other than the salt and other stuff. What else can be used in food preservation?
You can actually use herbs, things like rosemary, thyme, oregano. These are natural antibacterials. Now, she mentioned this organic wheat. When you have this plenty of it, get bay leaf. Bay leaf repels insects. Yeah. Then you put even moringa and neem. You layer your container with these herbs, and it will repel these bugs. Yeah. Then mint and basil. If you have oil now like tallow, you want to preserve it. Rosemary is very good. These herbs really have antioxidants, have antimicrobials, antifungals, and those are the things that cause spoilage. So you line your cereal bag. When you buy rice in plenty, or you have iso meat and millet, you get bay leaf. Yeah, moringa is available. Even what we used last week. Yeah, it is very good. Just use herbs, and your food will be naturally preserved. Your oil, your cereals. Yes.
Thank you. This is very important, because we've also there's a section we need to also be cautious. And food handling also in preservation is very important, because how you handle when you're preserving determines whether the food is beneficial to you or whether it is harmful to you. Because sometimes some people would store, say, mushrooms. Mushrooms expire real quick. But there are ways to preserve them. However, if the bad fungus starts to grow on your mushrooms, then it becomes poisonous to you. So I don't know whether both of you would want to highlight in terms of food handling and safety and benefits to our health. As much as we want food security, how do we keep it safe for everyone else to use?
Remember, remember when we were introducing this topic, we talked about preservation is also meant for food safety.
Yes.
And so you cannot breach that.
No.
You cannot breach that. Some of these foods, because the processes are very sensitive, you have to have high hygiene standards. If you fail in your making of your fermented sauerkraut, your fermented cabbage, your fermented carrots, your fermented tea, you contaminate it. You have to have very sterile hands. You have to have sterile equipment, the cups you're using, even the sieve. You have to boil them in hot water as you're doing the process. Otherwise, you'll have problems. So it's very important. The element of hygiene is very important.
Lisa wanted to add on.
You grow only the good microbiome. Now you mentioned mushrooms. Mushrooms, kwanza, you don't wash it. If you want to preserve mushrooms, you either can it, or you cut them thin slices and you dry them. When they are dry and you put them in an air replace, those things will stay for long. And in fact, dry mushroom are more tasty, and it's more flavorful, and you get even more nutrition in it.
Telling you say that nikakumbuka kuna wanaita oboba.
Yes,
hey. That thing is delicious. It tastes like meat.
Yeah.
It's a very good alternative to meat. And it has, it has a very key mineral, even for hair and skincare.
It even has iron, I think.
Yes, it has a lot of iron, and there's a key mineral I've just forgotten. And when you want to stop your hair from graying, that is one of the foods we recommend you eat in plenty. It's part of what slows down the graying process. Yeah, it feeds your melanin for the hair.
Amazing. That we'll have to put that somewhere. We'll have to put that somewhere in our
Yes, it's one of the minerals. One of the foods we encourage people to eat, because I've just forgotten the name of the nutrient. We'll remember, and maybe we can put it down here. Yeah.
And you know, that reminds me of God in His mercy provided for that. When there are no mahindis, hakuna mboga, then it comes when it just starts raining. In around April, you find this very organic, natural, occurring manner. You know, there's a time I woke up and in our compound, don't use these pesticides and fungicides. It kills those things. So you must be an organic farmer for these things to grow. If you do not, if you're using these pesticides, no oboba, you will gray. I woke up in the morning.
That's why you don't find them much anymore.
And the whole place, our fence, it's white, those beautiful, And by evening, it was gone. I called them manna. Nakwambia, I brought a chair, kitimoto. I sat there for hours.
To harvest.
Oh, those things are so nice. And the next year, the same time.
That's amazing. And guess what? Where fungus grows, that soil is very rich and very good for trees to grow. Trees thrive where the mushrooms also grow. So if you're planning to have a wood lot, it's important to do that. I've digressed. As we wind up, what is your parting shot? What would you want our viewers to go with today?
I keep saying, know your farmer. From this topic, we have realized that you can poison your land, and you not only poison yourself, you also poison your food, because some of these foods, like the mushrooms, will not grow. And other mboga za kienyeji, you know, they are weeds. If you put that thing, really,
they die.
So, think you have one life to live. Please take care of it. Take care of the land. It will take care of you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, when you look at, when I'm thinking of preservation, I'm also thinking of the food sovereignty and the food security component of it. It is very key. You cannot avoid it, because remember, we have different seasons. There are seasons when you have a lot of food, and then there are seasons when maybe there is drought or winter in other places. So preservation is the key to ensuring you have control over your quantities of food, you reduce food wastage, and also you have assurance of food going forward, even in those dry seasons or during the winter. So for me, that's the highlight and the really strong thing, apart from what we had mentioned on nutritional value, safety, the sustainability part is really, really important, and how it ensures we have food in the days to come.
Well, this has been interesting and informative. I hope you have learned as much as I have also learned, and we keep learning. We keep learning. We keep growing together. We keep exploring the world of wellness and nutrition. And I'm looking forward to discussing with you in our next episode, where we will be looking at even how to identify these preservatives, for example, in our foods. It's one of the many things we'll be looking at in the next episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.